Angel Nieves is a former NYPD detective and says...
The late photographer, journalist Ardina Seward. Nice to see you, Ardina.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
And here we are, folks. I'm Adina Seward along with Angel Nieves. We are coming to you. Actually, we're drying out. We almost had a monsoon in New York City. It was rough going for motorists and a lot of people on the East Coast. So we're drying out, but the show is not dry. Our show is hot. We have yet another episode. I lost count of the episodes, but I'm sure you haven't, and our audience is growing. I want to take a minute just to thank you all for tuning in and for taking the time to watch us. It's very, very important that you get the information that you need. It makes our jobs a lot more meaningful, and the effort that's put into putting this show together. It's important to us. It's important to pets. It's important to people to get informed. I just want to thank you for checking us out. And today we have a fantastic guest that is going to show you her photographs. And this is not your pet rescuer. This is not somebody who is a veterinarian, as we have one a lot. This is a little bit off the beaten path, but it just goes to show you how pets can be highlighted. So Angel, you have some pictures and some video. Let's go to that first before we get to Carol Arscott.
I am Carol Arscott, for those of you who don't know me, of Carol Arscott Photography. And
Well, you know, it doesn't get much cuter than that. And it's way off the beaten path of your standard pet photos. So, Carol, I'm trying to formulate a question. I think what I want to ask is, what gave you the idea to photograph pets differently than the standard pet photos that everybody sees with the cute dog and the fireman's hat? This is way off the standard pet photos. It's very creative. So what inspired you, number one, and what gave you the idea to take it to this level?
well, Ardina and Angel, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. I love talking about dogs and photography. I have just always been an animal lover. I messed around taking pictures of my own pets as a kid and as a college student. And it just has grown over the years. I started out as a rescue photographer, photographing the dogs as they came in to rescue to help them find homes. Then it snowballed, and I was working with so many different rescues that there just wasn't enough time to get to every dog that was coming in every week. So now I primarily focus on my regular client work, but rescue is the cornerstone of my business. So I raise money for rescues. I still will go in and photograph dogs that are really difficult to place, ones that have been in shelters for a really long time. And then I just try to create custom artwork for people, and so they have something special of their pets.
How the heck do you get a dog to pose? I know I have a cat. I'm a sort of a cat person, and the cat does funny things. But to get the cat to sit, to get her just to stay immobile for a few minutes is really, really difficult. It's almost like a two-person job. I need somebody to distract her, and then I can take the photos. But I don't know how do you do that with dogs?
I don't know. It's really easy for me. I just have a connection with animals. I always say I've never met a dog I couldn't photograph. And believe me, I've worked with some really tough ones in rescue, which was, pretty good training. But, I just try to imagine how that dog views themselves. So, some dogs might be a little more on the shy side. There are some little dogs who think they're big dogs, right? They have that big dog attitude. And I try to show them the way that they view themselves. I spend time getting to know the dog before the session starts. I have a consultation with their owner prior to the session so I can learn about their personality and whatever traits they might want to bring out in that dog. And then we go from there. And I partner with my clients and create custom art for them.
You mentioned that you worked with rescue organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what has been the rescue response when you have a dog that's difficult to place? In other words, if you just take the dog and you photograph a dog in a plain photograph, did the chances of getting that dog adopted out improve after that dog was photographed in a non-traditional way?
Yes, because so many of us in the rescue community or people just that follow rescues typically follow multiple rescues. So in their Facebook or their Instagram feed, they're seeing hundreds of dogs, right? So I'm sure that you both are see a lot of dogs that show up in your social media feeds. And so it's hard for a dog to stand out among all of those other dogs. So, and a lot of times, here comes my big boy. Come here, babes. Come on. He always has to make an appearance. Come on, up.
Oh boy. He's not a small guy, he's a big guy.
Whenever he hears me on a call, he jumps in. Yeah.
Is that a Maltese?
No, he is a Saint Berdoodle. He's giant. I'm sorry, I forgot your question now.
I was asking what was the dog's response after you photographed the dog?
Yeah. So, a lot of the dogs that come into rescue, volunteers will photograph them at intake. So a lot of times the dogs are scared. They're in a new environment. They don't know where they are. They don't know what's happening to them. It's not a great time to take a picture. They might be in a crate or, inside in a building where there's not good lighting, not good angles. So it's really not a photo that's going to stand out to potential adopters. So what I do is I try to photograph that dog in such a way that people, when they see that, they're going to be able to imagine having that dog as part of their family. And that's going to really just, I try to take them out to a park or a beautiful location so that the dog will really stand out first in the feed, and then it will get people thinking. So it might be a dog playing with a ball or a stick so that people could imagine what it would be like to spend the day playing with the dog.
How long? I'm just going to put the light on here because my light's kind of fading fast here. Okay, that's a little bit better. How long does it take? How long does a photo session take?
For a rescue dog or for a client?
I would say let's for a rescue dog.
So for a rescue, I typically, when I go into a rescue, I try to photograph multiple dogs just to make the best use of my time and of their time. So I maybe spend 15 to 20 minutes per rescue dog.
Wow.
Sometimes less if the dog is really easy.
Wow.
I was going to say a rescue dog would probably be easier than a regular family dog because they're at least a little bit more obedience than a family dog. We just let the dog do whatever they want because they're so cute.
Yeah, it can go either way. Some of the dogs have been in rescue so long that they're really shut down, and they're really, in some organizations, they don't have enough volunteers to take them out and give them a lot of playtime. They're only getting let out to go to the bathroom. So when they get to me, they're so full of energy and they're really exuberant, and that can be difficult. My regular client sessions, we spend about 90 minutes. So I spend a lot more time because we try to get enough photos to fill an album and that sort of thing. But in about 15 or 20 minutes, I can probably get 10 or 15 photos of the rescue dogs, so that the rescue has multiple images that they can share over time. So they can either do a photo dump of, like a little album of all of the photos, or, each week, if the dog's not getting adopted, they can release new pictures of them, or release different pictures on different social media and things like that.
What are some of the techniques to getting the dog just to sit still and engage trust with you?
So some dogs, do have that. They understand commands. They know sit, they know stay. The majority don't. So a lot of my job is letting the dog run the session. They need to be a dog. They need to be having fun, right? Because we want to capture their personality as it is. We don't want them looking scared or nervous or fearful. So a lot of times it's me on the ground, crawling around and following them. It's a dirty job. I come home filthy.
Well, what about, people have, I think that everybody has a pet that they think, oh boy, this dog would be great for commercials, or this dog would be great for a movie. And there are casting agencies that cast dogs, cats, rabbits, whatever. So what percentage of your clientele are people who want to engage their dogs in commercial work, i.e. print work or movies or commercials or films?
So I do get requests for doggy headshots.
Right, that's what I meant.
So, so people who are interested in having their dogs, be actors or whatever, will come to me, and we'll do a variety of images. So we'll do some headshots, we'll do some full body shots, we'll do some action shots, so that they can submit those photos and show their dog in various different, environments and poses and things like that. So yeah, I do have some of those, and those are really fun. Those dogs are usually very well trained, so that makes my job way easier.
What do commercial agencies look for in a dog? If, let's say, they want to hire a dog for, I don't know, a Western movie, what kind of traits do they look for in that dog?
So the dog definitely has to be well trained. They need to be able to respond to commands. They need to be able to hold a pose. If you tell a dog to sit and the dog keeps running towards the cameraman, that's not gonna. It'll be like, cut. Take. Have to do a lot of takes of that. So definitely training is key. Also dogs that are very expressive. You've seen movies where dogs do the cute little, paw on the face, and they can do the puppy eyes to get what they want, the sad eyes, whatever. Dogs can turn that on, some of them, if they're well trained. It's more than just training skills and physical movements. It's actually training these emotional reactions that's really neat to see.
I don't know if you may be too young to remember the series Little Rascals, but
I remember it in reruns. Yeah.
Well, if you ever saw the classic acting dog was Petey.
Yes.
To this day, I've never seen a dog that could beat Petey. Petey just had it in him. I mean, that dog's expressions. I think Petey was a pit bull, right?
Yeah. I believe so. Yep.
And it looks like he had this circle in his eye that I think was painted on. I don't think it was.
Oh,
was that his real eye?
I think so. Yeah.
But if you go back and you look at that, anybody who's interested, if you go back and you can see it, you can see some of the on YouTube. They are beyond hysterical. So if there was ever a role model for an acting dog, Petey beat Lassie, Petey beat any of the sequences that came after that. But Angel, I'll let you take over and do some of the talking.
Yeah, I mean, they had Lassie, Rin Tin Tin, Oh Yeller, all those dogs. But let me ask you one probably dangerous because in every job there's something dangerous. Some dogs, they see a reflection of themselves, think it's another dog. It could be a little bit aggressive. That ever happened to you?
Do you mean have dogs ever been aggressive towards me?
Towards your camera, not towards you, because
I mean, I've had some pee on my camera bag, but
oh, that's okay.
but
That's probably like a date, but I'm saying,
Oh man, that's a little hard to take.
but I mean, because I was in National Geographic, and I remember when they had the lens, but this is like a camera lens on a dog. The dog was actually going after the person with the camera, but it wasn't for the person. It was actually the camera lens because they see another dog. They don't see themselves.
oh, interesting. No, I've never experienced that. Now, that being said, most of the time I am using a long lens, so I'm far away from the dog.
Okay.
For a couple of reasons, because I like the look that I get from my particular favorite lens, but also because I like to give the dog space, so a lot of times if they don't know me, they're more comfortable if I'm farther away. Then as the session goes on, I can move into a shorter lens and get closer and interact more with the dog. But no, I've never actually had one sort of see itself in the lens. That's interesting.
Yeah, I've seen it. I see the guy running around, but dog after, that's another story. But but did you do any other animals, or is it mainly dogs?
It's mainly dogs. I do photograph cats, occasionally horses. I do pet store sessions for the holidays, and people bring me all sorts of pets. So I've had rabbits and guinea pigs and birds and chinchillas, ferrets, a pig, and a duck. 2 ducks, actually. No, 3 ducks came in. Bunnies. Yeah, I get at the holidays, people bring in. In fact, my Santa and I were thinking about having a contest for the most unique pet, but then we got a little scared. We thought maybe we better not do that. We don't want a tarantula coming in for photos.
Oh, you never know.
I also noticed that you're not only taking pictures of the dogs, you actually did on your own time, like pro bono, calendars.
Yes.
And even a book, I think, right?
Yep. So I'm actually currently, I ran a calendar contest for American Bulldog Rescue, and so far we have raised over $8,000 for them.
Wow.
And the calendar hasn't even been published yet. So that's just from the voting on the dogs and a few pre-orders, and then the calendar will go up for sale this fall. So we're real excited about that. I'm finishing up the sessions. I'm photographing each of the winners, and we're going to put the calendar together. And then I also did a fundraising book for Delaware Valley Golden Retriever Rescue, and I raised over $10,000 with that book for them.
Wow. That's
so
impressive.
It's very, very exciting to be able to give back to the rescues. The people get beautiful artwork, of their own pets. Their pets get to be in a book.
Yeah, show us the book.
Yep. There we go. I might have to turn off my background here. It's going to be a little. Turn that off. There we go. Just ignore my messy desk. So this was a dog. Unfortunately, he passed away before the book came out, so he got to be our cover dog. But so I did. There were I guess about 50 dogs in the book, and so. There was photos of each. I'm having a hard time. Everything's backwards on the camera. There was like a little section, a little blurb about each dog, and photos of the dogs. This was an amazing 3-legged paddleboarding dog.
Oh wow!
So she was a rescue, and she had lost her leg, and that does not stop her at all. She goes out paddleboarding with her person. So we told her story in the book, and yeah,
I mean, the quality is just the color and the plot. It's just fabulous because it's not cheap. It's just beautifully executed. I mean,
yeah, it was a really hard time working backwards here, but yeah, it was just a really fun project. It's a nice hardcover coffee table book. This dog was a little shy, so you can see that dog got to be the end of the book.
You gave up.
How clever! I mean, that's just that is just wonderful. I mean, that is it. Where can people buy that book?
So you can go to the rescue. Their website is DV as in Victor, GRR. Yeah. Delaware Valley Golden Retriever Rescue. And you can order the book on their website. I think we still have a few copies left. And right now I'm in the process of doing another book for Providence Animal Center in Media, Pennsylvania. That will be coming out next June. So we hope to raise just as much money through that project.
Awesome.
Now we're sort of winding down towards the end of our show, but I wanted to ask you, what about you mentioned that you were an animal or are an animal rescuer. Is that in the past, or are you still presently doing animal rescue?
So I don't do the actual rescuing. I mean, the people in rescue, they do such important hard work. You know, they're out there in the trenches, you know, really 24 hours a day. I mean, a lot of them get calls at 2 a.m. that an animal's in distress, and they go, you know, and they have to see so many hard and tragic things. I don't know how they do it. I'm just you know, they are much stronger than I. You know, I really struggle even hearing about some of the stories of what they deal with. So I actually don't get involved in that part of it. I help more with the fundraising to help support them so that they can continue to do the life-saving work that they do. I have fostered dogs in the past. So right now our house is pretty full. I have 2 rescue dogs and a rescue cat, and we have a bird and a lizard and fish. So I think right now the inn is full, but
you also have a dog, right? The one you just showed us.
I have 2 dogs. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that dog is very talented. I mean, I saw the pictures you took him.
Yeah, so I've done a series with him. That's a combination of photography, artificial intelligence, and Photoshop to put him in. It's funny. I started out just doing some pictures of him just for fun to test out the new AI technology, and I posted some on social media just to be silly, and people really responded to it. And then people started saying, "Oh, I want to see him as this, you know, as a fireman and as an airline pilot." So I said, "Okay, challenge accepted." And so now people give me suggestions, and I put him into different occupations.
Maybe got arrested there.
It's so clever, and there's a need for it when you consider that there are hard to adopt breeds such as pit bulls, which I think every shelter across the country is inundated with pit bulls, and not all pit bulls are equal.
Right.
And to be able to portray them in a light that is appealing is certainly a service to not only to the dog but also to rescue operations. And it's fantastic.
Well,
Yeah, you know, I try to showcase each dog's individuality, you know, so that they're not just stereotyped. You know, I want people to see who they are as a being.
Now, if somebody wants your services, do you travel, or are you strictly located in the Delaware area?
So I do travel. I mostly work in the Philadelphia region, but I will travel. I also train other pet photographers. In fact, I'm hosting a workshop for pet photographers in Sedona, Arizona in January.
Wow.
They're going to get to come out and learn from me and another pet photographer, Val Woodward, For Real Life Photography. She and I are teaming up, and we're going to have a 3-day educational workshop. People, the participants will get to photograph dogs with us helping them, and we're going to raise money for rescue through the event as well.
Okay. Do you also have Zoom classes in case people can't travel?
Yes, I do group coaching and also private coaching over Zoom and in person. You know, I sort of tailor it to whatever people need.
Okay. And if someone, or a group for that matter, wants to get in touch with you to use your services, how would they contact you?
So the best way is my website. My website is my name, www.carolarscott, ARSCOTT.com. Oh, that's an old picture of me. Boy, you dove deep.
Maybe you had your baby pictures too with a bottle, but I didn't want to show it.
Yeah, I was much younger in that picture. And skinnier.
Well, this is such it's such a unique career that you have created for yourself, and it's wonderful. It's positive. It's not only good for you, but it also is helping animals who might not be adopted, might not be fostered out, to get the love that they need and to get into the homes that they need to portray them. And it's just an incredible format that you're utilizing in a very, very positive way. And I hope that more people reach out to you and that you're able to even expand your services. So
thank you. It's such a blessing to me. I am so privileged to get to do what I love every day. I get to work with dogs and help them, and it doesn't feel real. It's just every day is amazing.
Well, you know the phrase that if you do what you love, then it's not considered work.
Yep, absolutely.
So, Angel, I'll let you have the last word on this.
Yeah, but let me ask you one more question.
Sure.
Can you give me a crash course 101? You know what I mean? I'm not telling you to tell me the whole web, your whole thing, but a crash course. I got, for example, nonstop Chihuahua.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yapping all the time. It doesn't stay still. So, what's the best thing I could do as an amateur?
To get pictures of your dog? So there's a few things I recommend. First, I tell my clients if they have very active dogs to exercise the dogs for about 30 minutes before their session. Run them around, throw the ball, tire them out.
That's kind of the application that we use for when you have children. If you have a kid that is active and you want to you take them out to the park, let them run around, do a couple of laps around the swings, and then bang, sit down, Johnny. I want to take your photo.
Absolutely. The other thing that works really well is if you put a dog on something. So obviously nothing too high. You don't want the dog to fall off and hurt themselves, but like a low bench or like if you have a big rock in your yard or, something, because when they're on something, most of the time they tend to stay put a little better because they have that sense of, I have this little space to stand on. Some will jump down, but overall, they get the idea. Oh, I'm supposed to be here. The other thing you can do is put them inside something. So a basket or, swaddle them in a blanket even. That can be a really cute picture. But if they're inside something, sometimes they'll sit for a little bit longer. You probably are only going to have a couple of seconds, but any amount of time you can get is a help.
Exactly. They'll be contained. And always use a camera with an automatic drive. Because then you're going to get, if you try and just use one way, you just click frame by frame by frame. You want to use an automatic drive. So that way you're guaranteed to get something, correct?
It's they call it in the industry, they call that spray and pray. You just
I love it.
And most people don't realize that the dogs that I photograph are all on leash. So the owner is standing right next to them holding the leash, which is a huge help. I just photoshopped that out. So
good on you.
So that's sort of my behind the scenes trick.
Right.
Well, okay, Angel. So you have the last word there, bud.
Yes. Thank you, Kara, for coming.
Thank
you. I
you.
love the pictures. I'm telling you, I'm gonna frame that one that I showed you. Okay. And I'm gonna tell everybody it was me. All right.
That's good. You go right ahead. That's fine.
But everybody, please subscribe this channel. We have a lot of good shows, and I had a good show today. We have other shows that we've done before. Please watch it, like it, subscribe it, do the notification, and please spay and neuter your pets. And do you know where your pets are?